Remember Rachel and Doug from Love After Lockup? Well, Doug's.
All right. We're still waiting for a new one.
The court calls the case of People versus Douglas Howard, 2123400. Counsel, state your appearances for the record, please.
Susan Ziderby for the people, Your Honor.
And Don Sopanis for Mr. Howard, Your Honor.
And sir, are you Douglas Howard?
Yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Howard, you are here by video today, as is everyone else, but you do have the absolute right to be here in person. Are you waiving that right and requesting to proceed by video today?
Yes.
Thank you. Counsel, as a preliminary matter, I'm showing that the part of the agreement here appears to have been that the sentence here would not exceed the Kalamazoo minimum. And I believe that was on a torture case that's still pending.
If I may bring you up to speed, Your Honor.
Okay,
Late last week, we resolved the matter in front of Judge Bridenstine, and my client entered a plea of guilty to torture with a Cobb's agreement for 12.5 years on the minimum.
okay. Thank you for that.
Your Honor,
And
my
it-
client also, just so you don't have to do this at the end, was able to discuss with Judge Bridenstine that he wanted to go to prison in light of everything that's happening in the county courts. And the judge is allowing him to do his PSI in Kalamazoo via video and his sentence via video. So if there's anything you can put in his file, Your Honor, to let the jail know that he may be released today and not waiting for Kalamazoo sentence, that's what my client would like me to ask. In other words, don't hold him here. He's ready for DOC.
Okay. I don't know what I can do in that regard before I sentence him. You're asking that he be
No.
placed to DOC.
Yes, after you sentenced him, I don't want Van Buren to think he's got to wait till his sentencing date in Kalamazoo. The judge in Kalamazoo is saying, no, let him go to prison.
Okay, so is he, I'm not real clear on that request, but we can revisit it at the end of the plea, end of the sentencing.
Okay,
Are you and your client agreeable with going forward with sentencing today? Understanding basically the modification would be that that the minimum not exceed the 12.5 years?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Howard, is that agreeable with you too?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And you as well, Ms. Siderveen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Council advisory guidelines were scored as a prior record variable level F, an offense variable level 3, an advisory range of 84 to 140 months. Any objection to that scoring, Mr. Sopanos?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Siderveen, any objection to that scoring?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court does adopt an advisory range of 84 to 140 months Mr. Sopanos, have you and your client had the opportunity to receive and review the pre-sentence report? And if so, any additions, corrections, or deletions to it?
Yes, Your Honor, no additions, corrections, or deletions.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, have you had the chance to review your pre-sentence report?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you agree with your attorney that it is factually correct with no additions, corrections, or deletions needed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ziderveen, any additions, corrections, or deletions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Sopanos, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client before I impose sentence?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Howard, anything that you wish to say?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Ms. Ziderveen, anything?
Thank you, Your Honor. This has been a long history that this defendant has been then proceeding in theft crimes as well as violent crimes. These offenses took place at his home. He used his Facebook to do these transactions. It's very clear that he was the leader in this operation. And now we have a torture case that's also tied in Kalamazoo to this ring as well, this criminal enterprise ring. As it is my understanding, he was actually torturing one of his people that work with him in this ring. Your Honor, that he is a very dangerous man. He has not done well on parole. It sounds like he absconded 7 months after being released from parole in 2020. He's had multiple violations while incarcerated. Your Honor, the original discussion that we had is the court was not to exceed the middle of the guidelines. We'd asked for the court to sentence him to the 112 months then to the maximum, as the 112 months is the middle of the guidelines.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Howard, I am balancing punishment, protection, deterrence, and rehabilitation, hoping that when you have served the sentences that you have to serve for this conduct, you can come out and not find yourself sitting in jail clothing being sentenced by judges like me. I will follow the recommendation from the Department of Corrections and sentence you to 96 months to 20 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections. This is consecutive to parole, 0 credit due to parole detainer. I'm ordering that you pay restitution in the amount of $615.14 payable to Chris DeFrancisco, $68 in state costs, and a crime victim assessment in the amount of $130. Sir, you do have a right to ask the Court of Appeals to review the conviction and sentence. You have a right to ask for a court-appointed attorney to assist you in that review if you are financially unable to afford your own. If you do wish to make the request, you'll need to fill out the paperwork. I'm going to get you and turn it back into the court within 42 days of today's date. Bond is canceled. And counsel, it looks like dismissals. We've got counts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the habitual.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, those will be dismissed. And so bonds canceled here, Mr. Sopanos. I don't know, what you were asking of me to
We
do what?
just wanted to make sure that Van Buren County Jail doesn't see his sentencing date, which is out a couple months, and hold him in Van Buren thinking he's got a sentencing date that he needs to be to in Kalamazoo. The judge said, no, let's let him go to prison. He can be sentenced via video. That's all. I don't know what we need to do just to let Van Buren County Jail know that he's not to be held. He's available for DLC.
I can at least shoot an email, but in the end, that's going to be the sheriff's call, obviously.
Okay, Doug, and Doug, let me know if they're not transferring you, and I'll rattle their cage, okay?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks, Douglas.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you, Your
bye-bye.
Honor.
Doug suspected the alleged victim had stolen a truck from him. Doug arranged for the man to enter a local hotel room where he beats victim with metal flashlight and pours hot coffee on him, drove him around to various locations in multiple counties where they believed the truck might be hidden. In between stops, Doug and his accomplices were allegedly assaulting the victim and burning him with torches. The man was then driven back to an unknown residence in Kalamazoo, where he was then pushed down a flight of stairs into a basement wherein he stated the floor was covered with dog feces and where he was again held against his will for several more hours. While being held, Doug and his accomplice allegedly continued to torture the man. The victim says they poured gasoline on him and threatened to set him on fire. Doug and his accomplice also continuously beat/kick/punch/strike victim as well as threatened to anally penetrate him with an object. The other affidavit reveals that the object was a broom handle. The victim's captivity and torture as a multi-day event. Eventually, a subject known to the victim assisted him out of the basement and took him home. Doug looks to be facing a total of 11 felony charges. The other 8 charges have already been bound over to circuit court, which I assume will happen with these 3 charges that are currently still in district court.